Hi there. This is part 2 in a series about the Google Assignment, a new tool that is in Schoology that will be replacing the Google Drive assignment. This video is meant to talk or guide you through the teacher side in creating the assignment. And I want to show you kind of a real life demo so that you can see what it looks like the first time and point out some information that's important. So it's very similar to creating a Google Drive assignment in a course where you would go to add materials, add assignment, and then you're going to click on the Google Assignments button and add all the information, of course, about the assignment. So I'm going to walk you through that the first time in a course. You're going to have to, you're going to see something in each course the first time you use it. So as a teacher, this is pretty much an empty course. I'm going to click on Add Assignment. And then I'm going to make this about, since I was a Spanish teacher, something about AR verbs. Those who are language teachers kind of know what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to give out a Google Doc with some sentences on it, and I want the students to conjugate the verbs appropriately. So this is the tool we used and Google Drive assignments. It's still there, but this is the one going away. So I'm going to use the new tool, Google Assignments, because that's the one that's taking the place of it. So I wanted to show you this one step that's really critical from both the teacher and student standpoint. The very first time you use this tool in a course, you have to link to Google in the course. It's different from the other tool where you linked it once and you were done. This needs to be linked in every course. So you need to click on that each time you use it in a course in order for it to work. You're going to see the information about what it's going to do. I'm going to click on link, and I should be good after that first time. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So now I'm in the interface that I am normally in when I go right into it. I don't have to link every time. I have this create a Google assignment. So here I can opt to turn on the plagiarism checker, the originality reports. And this is where I would attach a file. I could also create a file on the fly if I wanted to, but I could attach a file I already have. So do a search. Okay. Use that file right there. And there I have it. I can attach more files. I can do more than one. And so here's the next piece. As you know, every student will get a copy, just like the other tool. Here's a critical piece down here that you have to consider, and is how are you going to grade this? Now, you didn't have this option before, but in the new assignment, you have either the Google Assignment grading mode, where things kind of stay in the Google format, or you have the Schoology Learning grading mode, where you grade in that Schoology grading area. They both have advantages to them, but I'm going to say this from the outset. You're probably going to feel more comfortable in the Google Assignment mode if you've used a Google Drive assignment before. But there are some differences to it. So I'm going to, keep it in that, and then I can attach a rubric if I want to. And I'll review in a slide in a moment the differences between the two ways of using it, but just showing you here that this is where I would create a rubric. I can reuse rubrics that I've already created for Google Assignments, or I could import from Sheets. I'm going to leave it on Google Assignment, click on Create, and then it attaches it. And then I want to fill in the other information. Oh, that's in the past. Okay. I may or may not be grading this, depending on if it's formative or not. But I want them to see their feedback, so I'm giving it points. I'm going to click on Create. And that's going to show up with the new icon as well. It looks like the regular assignment, but over here in upcoming, it's got that new icon over here. So kind of went through this piece already. Just a couple of things before I end this video is the difference between the Google grading and the Schoology grading. The file, when you submit, stays a live Google Doc when you use the Google grading. So you can keep going back and forth on the same document if you have a revision process, for example. In Schoology, when the student clicks submit, it converts it to a static view-only file in the Schoology interface. It's kind of like a PDF. So for feedback, teachers, if you're using the Google grading mode back in the live Google Doc, you can use those margin comments. You can have a comment bank. You can edit the document. You can use suggestion mode. You can use the Google tools to give feedback. Whereas in the Schoology grading, you have the ability to type on the document, circle, and also give video or audio feedback. But it is no longer Google Doc. Rubrics are usable by both, except you need to create Google rubrics for the Google mode and use Schoology rubrics for the Schoology mode. They don't go back and forth. Grade sync. And this is about the grading piece, so you'll see that in another video. But when you grade the Google assignment in Google mode, the student does not see the feedback until you return that assignment to them. Whereas, and the gradebook grade, the numerical grade you give it, that goes into the Schoology gradebook when you click on return. You don't always have to give it a numerical grade. You can kind of keep going back and forth with it with no numerical grade for a while. That's something that I've heard some teachers say they like to do. Schoology gradebook goes automatically. You put the values in, boom, it goes right into the gradebook. They also see the feedback right away, depending on if you publish it or not. And the due dates. So if this really involves something like the Schoology calendar, where if you make something due a certain day and it will appear on the Schoology calendar when the student goes to their Schoology calendar. If you use the Google grading mode and you edit the due date, like we have a snow day, for example, if you edit that date, it does not update it on the Schoology calendar. But the Schoology grading mode, it does update because it's more native to Schoology. In part 3, you'll learn about the student experience.